So today we will learn 2.5 Father Returning Home. It is a higher secondary education poem are there, and here it is very simple, and we will try by reading only. We will try and understand what the poet is trying to explain us. Clear? Father Returning Home. Okay, by the name itself, we can easily understand a father who is coming home. Okay, returning home, coming home. Okay, like you are returning from mall, you are returning from shop, you are returning from office. So father is returning home. We will see in the poem from where. Okay, icebreaker, little bit icebreaker are there. Discuss with your partner the difficulties that you face while commuting to and from college by public transport. Like 4 things you need to write. What kind of difficulty you are facing when you are traveling, while you are traveling to your college or from your college, from public transport. So one right, you can write the crowded area. Okay, crowded, noise, uncomfortable, adjustment. Okay, the similar problem are faced by the other commuters on the way on or to their workplace. Imagine the plight and suggest 3 solutions. So the similar problem which is faced by the commuter, similar problem. So commuters on the way to their office. So what kind of solution? Giving them your place to sit. So there are solutions you need to write. The way our elders take care of us. The way you can take care of elders in your family. Love and protect us, help them daily. So here, write your duties towards the following. Like you need to write your. It is very simple. By reading only, you can understand what is your duties towards the following, which means in family, what are the duty of the siblings, parents, grandparents, teachers, and college. Right? Let's take example of teachers. What are the duties? Teachers. The duties of the teachers are completing the syllabus, explaining them, making them understand what is there in the book. Clear? These are the things. Now let's come to the poem. So the poet is nothing but Dilip Chitре. Who is the poet? Dilip Chitre. Clear? And he was born in 1938 to 2009. Okay? And he was celebrated bilingual poet and translator with a remarkable work in Marathi and English. So he was a very bilingual poet, which means he knows the two language, Marathi and English, and he's translating also Marathi text into English or English text into Marathi. His versatile creativity extends. His creativity is extends to painting. He know painting also. He know filmmaking also. He is notable contribution in magazine columnist. He is working in magazine also. He received the prestigious contribution as a magazine Sahitya Academy Award both for poetry as well as his translation work. Says Tuka. Okay, translation work. Says Tuka, popular Abhangas by Sant Tukaram. So he got the very prestigious Sahitya Academy Award on his extensive creativity, and he had done a translation work of Tukaram, which means in Marathi to English. Okay, and he had started translation of literary work of saints in Marathi at the age of 16. So when he was 16-year old, when he was in school, so he started translating the Marathi text. Okay, exile, alienation, self-designation, and death. So in his poem, you will find the exile, you will find the alienation means alone, self-disintegration, which means like you are which means alone only, loneliness. Here, like a person integrated is nothing but collectively, self-designation is collectively, and that are observed in the major themes of his work. So when you read his poem, so we will find this thing: alienation, self-designation, and all. Clear till now we have understood who is Dilip Chaitra. Is a person who is doing translation into two Marathi and English, and he got his award of translation work Saves Tuka. Okay, and this poem, what we are going to read now, is taken from Traveling in a Cage. Okay, this poem is taken from which book? Traveling in a Cage. Okay, from there, this extract is taken from. It draws a portrait of suburban commuter. Okay, so this poem is taken from Traveling in a Cage, and it draws a portrait of suburban commuter. It actually shows the portrait of people, suburban people who are commuting every day. It depicts his it depicts his dull, monotonous, exhausting, and equitable daily routine. It is actually showing the very dull and boring and very regularly routine. It describes a forced alienation at home, which is reflected through the stale food and lack of sharing. So it is describing the forced alienation at home. It describes about a person, how the person is isolated in his home only. Okay, in his home only, which is reflected to the stale food and lack of sharing. And his children refuse to share their joy and sorrow with the hardworking father. Okay, and his children are refusing him to sharing his joys with the father, who result is forced to in solitude. And this is very painful loneliness symbol from a materialistic man. Basically, here the writer is trying to explain about the father, how the father in his home only, how he isolating himself, how he feeling loneliness in his home only. He is feeling loneliness in his home because his children are not sharing his joy, sharing their joys with him. That's the main reason he was disintegrated with the family. Okay, now let's come to the poem. Father returning home. My father travels on the late evening train. Okay, so the poet is saying that my father is traveling on the late evening train. Clear? Just imagine now. In the evening, the father is traveling in the late evening train, which means 8:30 nearby, and he is standing among the silent commuters in the yellow light. Nowadays, in the train, there is LED lights are there, but if you see in the olden time, because basically before 2009, the trains were inside the train, the light was yellow, so that's why I say he was standing among the commuters in the yellow light. Suburb slide past his unseeing eyes. So the father is not able, whenever he is traveling on the train, in the train, so he is not able to see the suburb which is passing. Okay, and his shirts and pants are soggy, and his black raincoat. Okay, his shirt and pants are very soggy, and with his black raincoat stained with mud, and his bag stuffed with books. His shirts, like the poet is talking about the father clothes. His shirts and pants are totally soggy, which means sweating, and his black raincoat are covered with mud, stained with mud, and bag is having a books. From the picture also you can understand. Okay, and is falling apart. Is falling apart. His eyes dim by age. Okay, his eyes dim by age. Whose eyes? A father is according to the age. His vision of the eyes is dim. Fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Okay, everything is fade. Fade means like the vision is totally fade homeward toward the humid monsoon night. So because of his dim light, he is feeling fading. He's not able to see properly. Okay, now I can see him getting off the train, like a word drop from a long sentence. So the poet is saying that now he can able to see his father. Okay, he can able to see his father. How? He can able to see his father. How he is getting off the train, and how, like, he is explaining from a word. This is a sentence, and from sentence the word is drop. His poet is trying to explaining us how he looked, what is the vision, how we get off the train, like a word drop from the sentence. Okay, he hurries across the length of a great platform. Obviously, the Indian platforms are grey, and the another meaning of the grey, according to the age, his hairs are going grey. Okay, and he crosses the railway line and enter the lane, and his chappals are sticky with mud, but the is onward. So the poet is explaining his father. Once he get off the train, he hurries toward the home. He crossed the lane, and after crossing, his chappals were sticky with mud. Now the poet is explaining, I can see him at home, and he is drinking a very weak tea, and he is eating a steel chapati, and he is reading a book. Okay, he is eating a steel chapati, which means steel is nothing but uh, in the afternoon chapati, right? And he goes to the toilet and contemplate. Okay, so he goes to the toilet and contemplate man and strange man from a man-made world, and he goes to the toilet and think deeply. Obviously, just imagine, whenever we go to the toilet we are thinking, so he is also thinking something else, the unique thing. And when he come out from the toilet, he suddenly go to the washing basin. Okay, basin, seeing the cold water running towards his brown hand. Okay, there was a cold water is running towards his brown hand. Okay, a few droplets cling to the graying hair on his wrist. So when he is uh, washing his hand, the few droplets are cling on his wrist. And his swollen children have often refused to share jokes and cigarette. And his bad-tempered children are already refused to talk with him. Not able to talk only, they are not able to share the joys and secrets of the school with him. Okay, and he will now go to sleep. The poet is saying now he is going to sleep and listening with the static on the radio, dreaming, and he will listen the static sound, and he will dream, and what he will dream, he will think about his ancestor and grandchildren, and he is thinking that how the nomads, how the Adivasi people are entering in our through the uh, entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. This was the poem. The poet is actually explaining about the father. Okay, how the father is traveling every day, right? So brainstorming you can do by yourself.